True story. I had a hockey coach one time who used to preach that hockey players were made in the summer. Hockey players were made in the summer. Michael McLean, BadAssBrotherhood.com. Horsepower, not horse shit. Just wanted to shoot this video to talk about one of my favorite topics, which I call separation season. 99% of businessmen, fathers, husbands, athletes, coaches, the 99% mediocre majority, those men and women who are living a life of quiet desperation, punt the summer months. They literally punt the summer. And what I mean by this goes back to the teachings of one of my old hockey coaches when I was playing, who said that hockey players are made in the summer. What he meant is separation season is, during the regular season in the winter when every hockey player is playing. We all basically played the same amount. We practiced the same amount. We had the same number of games. So there was no room for real separation. Of course, there's talent and levels of work ethic, but it was closer to the same during the season. Where the separation came with a hockey athlete was in the off season, the training season, when not every player was training, not every player was eating the same, reading the same, training the same, lifting the same. And this was what he called separation season. It's the same for football, it's the same for basketball, it's the same for tennis, it's the same for any sport. The off season is actually when the player is made, separation season. I have been in the opinion that summertime, when school is shut down, the old agricultural model of school, which we're now 100 plus years without any change. So school is shut down in North America sometime, May and June, depending upon the state, depending upon the area. And school is shut down for 2+ months. So a complete another 8-week plus break. So what do most parents do? What do most businessmen do? They use this opportunity to really almost do nothing, to shut down, to take vacations, but to mentally check out for a couple of months. I'm not talking about, taking a week off to go on a vacation or 2 weeks at the cottage or spending more time with your children. I'm talking about punting the 2 months. And I have a story that will better explain my mindset. So to take my daughter, Emery, who's 9, to take her learning and to give her some mental challenge over these next 2.5 months. Her school ended last Friday. So most parents, their kids are going to do what for the next 2 months? There's not a lot of sports here in the summer. The rinks aren't open. Their kids can play maybe some ball and soccer. But for the most part, their kids are going to be home at that age. And what are they going to be doing for 2 months? They're going to go for a short vacation, maybe. And then after that, it's screens, maybe a little bit of outdoor playing. But for the most part, mom and dad are going to put them on the screen and they're not going to do a lot. And when they resume to school in 2.5 months, you ask any teacher, a math teacher, history teacher, science teacher, biology teacher, phys ed teacher, what do they have on their hands? They have a classroom full of students that need to almost start again at square one. They certainly have forgotten a large majority of the math and the history and anything they've been taught, if they were taught anything the entire year before. So anybody, stop 2 months of your business, stop 2 months, anything, dead stop for 2 months, 60 days, 75 days, and see what happens to you as a businessman or a husband or a father. So for my daughter Emery, I have her for the first time ever taking the Einstein Blueprint math training, which is 6 days a week. I encourage Dan to do it 7, but he's doing it 6 days per week. He has the kids for 1 hour, 60 minutes, so that's minimum. That's a very short hockey practice. That's a very short football practice. That's a very short baseball practice. You can't do much unless you're doing something at least for an hour, when you take into account warm-ups and cool downs and all this other stuff. So Dan, 6 days a week through the Einstein Blueprint, has Emery on there with some other kids, ages 5 to 12, from all walks of life, all countries. You have some very intelligent kids, you have some very driven parents, but at the end of the day, in my particular case, it's about Emery learning something and working out mentally for 1 hour every single day. She doesn't have any school. She doesn't have, her activities are usually in the evenings. Horseback riding is in the evenings. Chess is in the evenings. Okay, I do some training with her in the mornings, physical and mental training, duck walks, squats, sprints, all of that stuff. But she's got a lot of time in her hands. So one of the things my wife Krista and I decided this year is that's it. She's going to be taking Dan's daily math sessions for 60 minutes, 1 hour per day. And it's amazing when I tell them what we're doing. When I say, well, Emery has an hour math session on Wednesday, or Emery has an hour math session on Monday evening. And the response of other ordinary parents is the same as if you told them, a business person, that you're going to a seminar. It's the same reaction as if you told an ordinary business person that you're reading this great book. The first thing off their mind is, well, do you really need to be doing that? Why don't you give the kid a break? And why don't you take the summer off? Why don't you take the summer off? So my mindset, I don't argue with people at this level at all. I'm amused by the response. Take the summer off. And it's because their kids are doing nothing, right? It's because they're doing nothing. I tell them the books I'm reading and what I'm planning on doing. And, well, why don't you take the summer off? You live at the lake and all this great stuff. The thing is, they don't understand that my personal sovereignty, I live life exactly as I want every single day. I live life on my own terms because I don't take any days off. So that doesn't make any sense to the common man. It doesn't make any sense to the average or the ordinary. For them, it's live for the weekend, it's struggle, work, never any financial freedom, zero financial independence, zero autonomy, and certainly zero personal sovereignty. They don't understand that the secret is in separation season and taking no days off. So as an example, here in the summer, I can do my morning walk for an hour. I can walk 15,000 steps. I can now have Emery with me for part of it, doing her sprints, doing her Hindu squats, doing her Hindu push-ups, doing her her body weight exercises. I can copyright, work on the marketing of my business for another hour, and I can read for an hour on the boat or on the end of the dock, and I am done my workday somewhere between 10 a.m. and no later than 11 a.m. That is called personal sovereignty. The money keeps flowing in. I'm working on my fitness, my mental health. I'm growing my brain, I'm using my brain, I'm reading, I'm writing, and I'm working out. Compare that to somebody who takes 2 months off, to somebody who punts the summer. In other words, they don't do anything, they may take a short vacation, they eat too much, they drink too much, and they don't spend any time with their kids. Who's kidding? Who's joking? I'm one of the only fathers at camping last Friday at school. I'm one of the only fathers who drops their kid or takes their kid to the barn. I'm one of the only fathers at the ball field. Like, it's just unbelievable. But I believe in that principle that hockey players are made in the summer, football players are made in the off season, baseball players are made in the off season. Well, I believe that students, okay, I'm educating Emery in how to be an entrepreneur. I'm not teaching her to be a math teacher. I'm not teaching her to be a veterinarian. Those are all options if she wants. But I'm teaching her first and foremost, I'm giving her the skills and tactics until she can make a decision, but I'm teaching her how to be a future entrepreneur. I'm teaching her how to be a future alpha female badass. That's what I'm teaching her. And you can't do these things unless you have education in mathematics, in marketing, in copywriting. She needs that burning desire of freedom to work for herself. She's already had lemonade stands and garage sales, and she's starting up a little dog walking company. She's done all these things on her own without my help. And then, I help her and teach her a little bit. The other thing that came up the other day, back to the story of her taking her math class every 6 days a week this summer. That's 2 months straight with Captain Dan, and a self-proclaimed world's best math teacher. No question about that. So he has these kids on here for 60 minutes a day, 6 days a week, every day but Sunday. You would be blown away. You would be blown away what he teaches in 1 hour with these children. It does not matter if they're 5, it does not matter if they're 12. He is teaching life principles. He's quoting the greats. He's teaching shapes, addition, subtraction, all. I was just blown away. And making it fun on top of that. He's got the big no button, the big yes button. He makes it almost gamifies it. Just outstanding teacher. It reminds me of how I run a 60-minute hockey practice where there is no stopping. It is just go, 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 go. Next drill, go, next drill, go. There's no standing around. There's no leaning. There's no resting. It's just go, 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 go. 60 minutes, we're done. Just speed, speed, speed. Mental workout and physical workout. So yes, students are made in the summer. And it's separation season for us as businessmen, because this is an opportunity where you can read more books, where you can write more, where you can work out more and train more, where you can walk more, because you have a little bit more quiet time, you have vacations, you have all these situations where you can carry disposable reading with you, books, magazines, newsletters. The climate is perfect for long 4 and 5 mile walks. When Krista and I are going away in a couple of weeks, we're doing hiking, trails, we're doing ATV, four-wheeling adventures. We're doing a whole bunch of things where we're pounding the pavement. But you know what? Everything is scheduled after 10 a.m. where I get boom, my walk in, boom, my copywriting in, boom, my reading in. I have the rest of the day. I literally have 20 to 21 hours of freedom. Let's say you sleep 8 of those. You got, the whole day to do stuff with your family. So this bullshit about, take it easy or take the summer off, that is the language. That is the language of the common man. And you need to be on the job mentally when you hear that stuff. If people aren't calling you crazy, if people aren't commenting about you and saying about your work, you work too much, or, take it easy, or you're really pushing your kids, or you're really pushing your employees too hard, or do you really need to be going to another seminar, and oh my God, you're in another mastermind, or on and on. Always remember and take that as a sign that you're on the exact right path, that you're doing the opposite, the polar opposite of the 99% ordinary and average. Joe Average will always say that. Why don't you take the summer off, relax, take it easy? And you know what? That guy's unhappy, he's stressed, he's depressed, he's overweight, he's anxious, he's medicated, he's sedated, he's disconnected from his children, he's disconnected from his wife, but he's dispensing unsolicited advice to you to take it easy. Bottom line, my dad used to tell me all the time when we were younger, you're just making him look bad. He can't keep up, you're making him look bad. So that's something to always look for. In the summer is separation season. It's no different than my old coach saying hockey players are made or not made in the off season. So this is the off season if we do have one. I don't believe there really is one for entrepreneurs. That's what we signed up for. There isn't 2 months off, and we don't need it, and we don't need it in school. You know, in China, the kids go to school 12 months a year. In China, there's no 2 month break where you lose all your learning from the year before. There's no stop and start culture in a place like that. And the results speak for themselves. So look around again and do the exact opposite of what everything you see. My daughter Emery, after session 1 was on Monday night, which is just a couple nights ago. And Dan warned me. She said, you know, when they do the math, the tissue box, he said, have the tissue box ready. And I said, well, that's good advice. He says it always starts the same for these kids because their friends are telling them, you know, your dad or mom have you doing math, and what do you need to be doing extra math, and it's the summer or it's the winter or it's Christmas or it's Thanksgiving. This is the feedback they're getting, right? All her friends from school are done. So she's had a few friends or for whatever, you know, say, you know, you're doing math. What? You're doing math once a day, as if an hour of something kills a kid. So he says, always have the tissue box ready for the first week. So right on cue, Emery started on 6:30 p.m., which is late for her on Monday. The rest of them are during the day for 1 hour. So I brought her home from riding on Monday, and she did her thing on with Dan for an hour. It's online. I hate it, but it's the only time she's on a screen the entire summer. Like, she doesn't do anything else. No TV, no computers, no pads, but she does 1 hour a day with the Einstein Math Blueprint. So right on cue, you know, she's very upset. She didn't understand things. The kids, she doesn't know the kids. There's 10 other kids on there. They're smarter than her, all this kind of stuff, which to me is like, okay, I'm in the right spot. She's uncomfortable. She's being, you know, she's not a big fish in a big pond. It's like her going to a new school in Florida. It takes a couple of weeks until you're in your comfort zone. So I love that, right? Because here she's a big fish in a small pond, and she's sometimes the oldest and the fastest and the smartest and the best prepared. But here it's a total out of your comfort zone is what we want. Krista and I love that. So, you know, the tears don't mean anything to me. And then she goes to bed, and Dan told me, he said, you know, it's going to take a couple of weeks. And then she had her session today, and she'll have another one this later today on Wednesday. But it's very interesting because today, Tuesday's session, she came out with a smile on her face. So after one session of hard, the first one was hard, the second one is a lot better. She's starting to get her vibe. She's starting to understand Dan. She's starting to see what's going on. So it didn't take her 2 weeks. She's going to still have to adjust, and there's going to be good days and bad days. But it's interesting because I said to her, I used the old Doc Rivers teaching quote because, you know, after the first one, she was tired and she didn't want to do any more of them. But that's not an option in the McLean Ranch. So I said to her, and she knows this quote well, I said, you know, average people, okay, want to be left alone. Average students want to be left alone. Average hockey players want to be left alone. Average people want to be left alone. Good people, good athletes, good businessmen, good marketers, okay, they want to be coached. They want to be coached. The good want to be coached. But the great, the outstanding, the champions, it doesn't matter what field you're in, whether it's art, science, music, businessmen, husbands, fathers, mass students, whatever it is, the great, the masters, the champions, the outstanding, they want to be told the truth. And he teaches math the truth like nobody else. He pulls no punches, he challenges them, he demands, he holds them accountable. My type of badass teacher, my type of badass instructor, and he does make it fun. And it builds self-esteem, it builds self-image because the children are accomplishing something they never thought they could do. So how are you pushing yourself out of your comfort zone where you're challenged, you're uncomfortable, you're going after mastery that you're not sure you can do? Are you pushing yourself physically? Are you pushing yourself mentally? Have you taken on a new challenge like mastering direct response marketing or reading great books or studying spirituality? What are you doing new this summer that's going to take you out of your comfort zone? What are you doing this summer with this, fine weather and more of a downtime? What are you doing with that time? Are you just going to punt it and mail it in like 99% and then look back and say, oh man, where did the summer go? Where did the summer go? Well, the summer went into barbecues and drinking too much and eating too much and hanging out with useless people and wasting your time instead of investing it. How can you invest your time? How can your children invest your time over the next 2 months so that you're even better, you're even stronger, you're even healthier in September? Like every single day, okay, we're given this gift of life from our Creator. We're given this gift of life. Life is a gift. And if you really embrace that, you don't punt time, you don't bunt, you don't mail it in, you don't have to take off, 2 months or all these things. You can still work on becoming the best version of yourself. That's what we need to do every day. That way, there's no stopping, there's no starting. Every day you get up, you work on becoming the best version of yourself. You can do that when you're vacationing. You can do that when you're traveling. You can do that when you're spending time with your family and your children and your wife. It doesn't have to be just a complete thud stop. So, summer is separation season, and businessmen and athletes and children are made in the summer. I firmly believe that. So I thought I would share that story of our strategy with Emery. And here we are in day 2 and going to be day 3 today, where she's doing an hour a day. Children need to be doing at minimum 60 minutes of mentally challenging activities every day of their life, minimum. So in the summer, if they're not at least doing something like reading, writing in real books, studying, or doing mathematics or history, if they're not learning and growing for at least 60 minutes, then that's a problem. And that's the same for a businessman like you. If you're not challenging yourself, even when you're vacationing, even in the summertime, if you're not reading, if you're not walking, if you're not praying, if you're not meditating, if you're not drinking lots of water, if you're not moving and getting out in this incredible nature, in the fresh air, in the sunshine, in the trees, in the forest, hiking, biking, whatever it is, if you're not doing that for at least a minimum 60 minutes a day, then you're not growing, you're heading the other way. So take a look at the next 2 months. Summer vacation is here. It's been here for a few weeks for some of you, but that's what I'm attacking this summer. Doesn't mean we're not doing day trips. Doesn't mean we're not doing long weekends. Doesn't mean we're not going camping. Doesn't mean I'm not fishing and all this boating and all this other stuff. But I'm getting those 3 things done every morning, and I'm making sure my kid is working hard this summer. My job as king of this family, okay? My job and Krista's job as queen of this family is to raise a worker, to raise a fucking worker. And I'm never going to apologize for that. I don't care what Goofy says to me. I don't know what the tomato cans say about taking it easy, giving them the summer off. Are you kidding me? If she was a teenager now, she'd be working on a farm shoveling shit. If she was a teenager now, she'd have a second job. So, she wouldn't be sitting around on a pad or whatever. Like, we're made to work. We're made to grow. We're made to contribute. So that's the plan from from BadAss World Headquarters this summer. And remember, hockey players are made in the summer, so are students, so are marketers, so are badass businessmen. And it's separation season. So look around you, and always do the opposite. Remember to do what the 1% do as well, which I do every day, is before the end of the day, look at your wife and your children and look them in the eye and tell them that you love them and how much they mean to you. The greatest blessings in our life are standing right in front of us. When we have our health and we have our loved ones, our family, what else do we need? What else do we need? We don't need anything else. So make sure before the sun sets every single day, you tell them that you love them and how much they mean to you. You can do it, by telling them. You can write letters, you can leave post-it notes, whatever it is, but every single day, tell the greatest blessings in our lives that you love them and you care for them and that you got their back, and see what that does to your marriage and relationship and connection with your children. That's it. If you haven't got a copy of my book, you must be insane. So get a copy at nobullbook.com. That link is below. If you want to sign up for my 12-month upcoming mastermind in September, you can apply at BadAss Champion, badasschampion.com. Link is below as well. That's it for today. 2 words that change my life, 2 words that can change yours. Be relentless.